I'm Ivy. Today I want to tell you something about depression. Do you have a black dog? Do you feel down and hopeless? You are not alone. Depression affects an estimated 1 in 15 adults in any given year, and 1 in 6 people will experience depression at some times in their life. Depression can strike at any time, but on average, the first appears during the first teens to late mid-20s. And the person who really made me start to find out about depression is Jonghyun Kim. He was a K-pop singer, and he committed suicide in an apartment by burning charcoal. You can see his tattoo, and that's his Instagram. He's trying to tell someone he's not fine, but no one tried it. So he talked about his struggle with depression in his suicide note. There's some sentence in his suicide note. Yeah. So after his death, I feel confused about what depression is. How can it make someone think that suicide is the only way out? Depression is more than just feeling a bit down for a few days. It is an illness which, at its most severe, can leave people feeling that life is no longer worth living. And it can cause physical symptoms such as headache, sleeplessness, constant tiredness, and may last for months and months. There are different reasons for depression, but successive stress is the most common cause. And I'm going to discuss suicide rate in 3 countries and what might be the cause of this. 70% of the people who die from suicide have the mental or emotional disorder. Different countries have different people with the higher risk of suicide. So, by understanding the social pressure in those countries, we can determine why the people are depressed. Firstly, let's look at China. China is much lower than New Zealand and Japan. The reason of this difference are not clear, but it might be the Chinese expects for an easy, comfortable life is not as great as Japan and New Zealand. Last year, have 14,000 people died from suicide in China, and the important point is that 58% of the suicide in China are male, and it is the leading cause of death is the man is aged 15 to 34. Research shows there are 2 reasons for why the Chinese have depression. Firstly, there are an aging population. In 1982, government decreed that every family could only have 1 child, and now those children have grown up and they became the main labor force in China. And every one of them needs to support their parents alone. It makes them anxious. And the blue one is the China, and the blue one is the world average. It's about aging society. Yeah. And I believe that another reason for feeling of hopelessness is the gap between the rich and the poor. I think the higher Gini coefficient also is a cause of Asian social pressure in China. We can see that China's Gini coefficient is declining year by year, but it's still quite high. Japan's Gini coefficient is 37, and the New Zealand's Gini coefficient is 33. A higher Gini coefficient is related to the happiness index of that people in that country. Some people can't afford to buy a house in their lifetime, but some people can have better results since they were born. Yeah, if the gap between the rich and the poor is too wide, it will cause the value of the entire society to be torn apart and become poorer. The poor believe their own poverty is caused by society and begin to resent society. In the face of the huge gap, the acquisition of the wealth seems hopeless. So poor people think that work is useless and give up work. However, some speculate for quick money.
5 minutes.
From real exam to Bitcoins. They try to take every opportunity which can help them get rich quick. They bet on their existing position and borrow money from banks or other private institutions. If they win, they can get rich overnight, but if they lose, they will suffer depression overnight. And this picture shows that Chinese are risk takers. Also, the Japan have the very high quite low too. So they are they very like to risk all. Yeah. And now let's look at Japan, which is much higher suicide rate than New Zealand. Last year, the suicide rate in Japan is 16.7% and 71% of suicide in Japan were male, and its leading cause of death in men aged 20 to 44. Like China, Japan is an aging society, which means the youth in Japan need to face the pressure of supporting their parents. This one is the bone and it's declining, and this one is the death. So since 2010, the bones in Japan is lower than death. Yeah, and it's the happiness declining. This one is Japan and this one is America. So it's a happiness index is declining. Yeah. And also after bubble economic in 1991, most of small and medium-sized companies in Japan canceled the permanent employment. People lose hope and lose emotional, which has become the ethos of Japan's society. We can see it in their manga and their game and literature. No longer human, That's my favorite book. Yeah, kind of feel it. And lastly, let's look at New Zealand. The social pressure is completely different from that of China and Japan. New Zealand's suicide rate ranks 54th in the world, but New Zealand's youth suicide rate ranks 6th in the world. The youth pressure are from school bullying and family violence. Across New Zealand, 20% of children face bullying in school. Study shows that children and young people who are bullied are more likely to be depressed, lonely, and anxious. Depression has become a significant social problem in many countries, and the government and some non-government institutions has begun to work to help people with depression. In New Zealand, there are many institutions to help you if you suffer from depression. You are not alone and help is available. I have a little black dog, and could you please help me to kill it before it ate me?